The great poet Mr. Joseph Brodsky. I'm going to read portions. Well, I'm going to read all of the first piece called Spoils of War, but I'm going to read it in portions so it can be an easy listening. Not all these pieces in one video. Spoils of War. Spoils of War. Number 1. In the beginning, there was a canned corned beef. More accurately, in the beginning, there was war. World War II. The siege of my hometown, Leningrad. The Great Hunger, which claimed more lives than all the bombs, shells, and bullets together. And toward the end of the siege, there was canned corned beef from America. Swift, I think, was the brand name, although I may be wrong. I was only 4 when I tasted it for the first time. It was perhaps the first meat we had had in a while. Still, its flavor was less memorable than the cans themselves. Tall, square-shaped, with an opening key attached to the side, they heralded different mechanical principles, a different sensibility altogether. That key scanning a tiny strip of metal to get the can open was a revelation to a Russian child. We knew only knives. The country was steel nails, hammers, nuts, and bolts. That's what held it together. And it was to say, and it was to stay that way for most of our lives. That's why there and then nobody could explain to me the sealing method used by these cans makers. Even today, I don't grasp it fully. Then and there, I stare at my mother's detaching the key, unbending the little tab and sticking it into the key's eye, and then turning the key time again and then turning the key time and again around its axis in sheer bewilderment. Long after the contents vanished into the cloaca, these stole somewhat streamlined around the corners like cinema screens. That red or brown cans with foreign lettering on their sides survive on many families' shelves and windowsills, partly as aesthetics objects, partly as good containers of pencils, screwdrivers, film rolls, nails, etc. Often, too, they would be used as flower pots. We were not to see them ever again. Neither the jellied contents nor their shapes. With the passage of years, their value increased. At least they were becoming more and more coveted in schoolboys' trade. For a can like this, one could get a German bayonet, a navy belt buckle, a magnifying glass. Their sharp edges, where the can was opened, cost us many a cut finger. In the 3rd grade, however, I was the proud owner of 2 of them. 2. Let us read number 2. Joseph Brodsky, Spoils of War, 2. If anybody profited from the war, it was us, its children. Apart from having survived it, we were richly provided with stuff to romanticize or to fantasize about, in addition to the usual childhood diet of Dumas and Jules Verne. We have military paraphernalia, which always goes well with boys. With us, it went exceptionally well, since it was our country that won the war. Curiously enough, though, it was the military hardware of the other side that attracted us most, not that of our own victorious Red Army. Names of German airplanes, Junkers, Stukas, Messerschmitts, Focke-Wulfs, were constantly on our lips. So were Schmeisser automatic rifles, Tiger tanks, ersatz rations. Guns were made by Krupp. Bombs were courtesy of IG Farben Industrie. A child's ear is always sensitive to a strange, irregular sound. It was, I believe, this acoustic fascination rather than any actual sense of danger that attract us or attract our. Sorry. It was, I believe, this acoustic fascination rather than any actual sense of danger that attracted our tongues and minds to those words. In spite of all good reasons that we had to hate the Germans, and in spite of the state propaganda's constant exhortations to that end, we habitually called them Fritzes rather than fascists or Hitlerites, presumably because luckily we never know them in any other capacity than as POWs. Similarly, we saw quite a lot of German military equipment in the war museums, which crop up in the late 40s everywhere. Those were our best outings. Those were our best outings. Far better than the circus or the movies, and especially if our demobilized fathers were taking us there. Those of us, that is, who had fathers. Oddly enough, they were quite reluctant to do so, but they'd answer in great detail. They'd answer in great detail our inquiries about the firepower of this or that German machine gun or the types of explosives used in this or that bomb. This reluctance was caused not by the desire to spare gentle imaginations the horrors of war, or themselves the memories of dead friends and the guilty feeling of being alive. No, they simply saw through our idle curiosity and didn't approve of that. We will continue the reading of Spoils of War from this beautiful book on grief and reason, essays by the poet Joseph Brodsky, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. See you the next time. Yes, I don't want that to be perfect. I want them to follow us while we are practicing and rehearsing these pieces of literature.